the thing I keep saying to the kids is like the having the ability to zoom out and look at it in more of like the greater scheme, which is especially tough when you're a kid. Like you don't have a lot of perspective, but realizing that in a year or 2 years or whatever, when you look back, we've said this before, it'll just be a blip. Everything will be back on the track that it seemed like it was going to be on, I would assume. Yeah. And then it's not really going to matter so much, right? But there's just mentally trying to relay that message to the kids, like, hey, you're still putting in work for a reason. There's still a purpose to what you're doing. Yep. And all that. That's tough for a 15-year-old to do for a year. Yeah. You know,
speaking of that, just staying focused, it was interesting because Charlie shared with me, well, it's not like news, 15, 16-year-old kids. We had a good talk the other day about he got invited to a party. And he said no because I've got hockey and all this stuff, and so the guys were sending him Snapchats, and they're getting all drinking and they're all hammered, and they're same age as Charlie. So we had a good conversation about it, and I said, see why it was even a few months ago. There's a handful of kids that are his friends from school that he grew up with that he really really likes, and but I told him, I said, there's a difference now, Charlie. I said, because these kids can, like, if they were to have a sleepover or come over to our house, they're expecting to stay up till 2 a.m. and stay up late and just piss around because there's nothing for them to look forward to the next day. Yeah. And so this weekend when it happened, he was showing me, not showing me, he was telling me about, the kids and what they were doing and stuff. And I said, there's no reason why, like, they have nothing to keep them in the line. So, like, if the parents maybe more would understand this than the kids, but that's why you want to keep this hockey really serious. Like, keep it as serious as long as you can, because you always have something to parent around or even coach around. Like, it's huge, man. Like, I can literally tell my son when he gets invited to these parties, I go straight to the hockey. I go, okay, so what's your goals again? And I don't have an issue with them at all, but there's a lot of kids that they're dabbling because the COVID's going on. They're getting at the age where, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was, or maybe even contemplating not being a hockey player anymore, even though they're 15. And it's like, well, if I go out and have some beers with my friends, I mean, like, that's what we do at this age. But with my son, it's a hell of a lot easier. I'm not saying that he'll never do it, but it's a heck of a lot easier because he's got a goal. He's got to wake up on tomorrow morning and perform somehow.
Yeah, well, but I don't even think it's that, because a lot of kids that are in maybe not in as fortunate a position as Charlie, they could be equally as focused, right? They could still do, right? But for the most part, you just start to feel the social pressure. Yeah. And if you don't have a guiding like for me, it comes down to parenting. Like, that's what it is, right? Yeah. Because you could you see it all the time, kids that are really good, and they still get sucked into the social pressure. Right?
Well, yeah, that's so for sure. It's your talks at home. Exactly,
right? So for somebody who's maybe in an equal position to Charlie in terms of opportunity, they maybe don't have a good guiding force that's keeping them on the path, right? Yeah. And so they could be just as good or better. Yeah. And they are going to miss that opportunity, get sucked into the shit because they don't have somebody that's trying to keep them on the tracks, or they don't have somebody who taught them that was important for the last 4 years. Yeah. And now that they're getting to the point where that pressure is going to come in, it's really easy to succumb to those types of influences, right? Because it's everywhere and it's going to stay everywhere. Yeah. And it doesn't it just gets more, right? Like, that pressure just gets heavier and heavier. So if you don't have a really strong driver to keep you in the lines with that kind of stuff, it's really, really easy to get sucked in. It doesn't matter if you're good or not good. Yeah. If you just don't have a driver. And the other thing with the friends, they don't have a goal or something that is a consequence for their behavior.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying.
Yeah, so they go, if you stay up on Friday night and go eat a pizza and walk around the city for till 3 a.m, drinking a Monster, and then go to bed and get up whenever, and there's no real consequence to you. Yeah. There is actually, but you can't.
It's not anything tangible necessarily.
Right, it's not anything more immediate. Yeah. Right. Whereas if you have a practice the next day or a workout the next day, that's immediate. Yeah. If you made a mistake the night before, you're feeling it the next day. Yeah. If you'd make consistently bad life choices when you're 15, or whatever a bad choice, however you want to define that, if you make those decisions, you don't see it on the day to day. You'll see it in 5 years when you didn't get into the university you wanted to go to because you don't have good habits. Like, that's more what the difference is. They can afford to get away with, or they think they can afford to get away with it more now. Yeah. And it's not that you can never go out and have fun with your friends. That's obviously not what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm just saying that consistency of not having good habits, not having something that keeps you accountable, you don't develop those skills.
Yeah.
Right.
It just makes me think, hockey saved my life. Hockey saved my life. It was everything to me, and it kept me on track. And as a parent, it saved me. Not saved me from being a bad parent, but it gave me the tools that I could use to be a good parent. And it's made. You always be careful when you say this because things can go sideways anytime. But it's so far has made parenting simple. Like because he wants this. Well, in order to get this, you have to have that. Yeah. If you don't want that, then well,
you have a vehicle, right? Like that's the thing that I always that's what I always stress about is like you have something that you can frame all of these lessons in. That's what hockey is. Yeah. That's what it can be. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And that's what happened for me. It was the same thing for me. My parents always relayed everything through the context of the thing that I was saying I wanted to do. Yeah. And for other kids don't have that. They don't have the thing that is going to keep that is driving them enough to keep them on track with what they're trying to do,
Yeah. And it's but you were 100% right. Without being a dad or a parent is those my wife and I were talking about it last night, how we've had really, really honest conversations with Charlie about kind of everything. And I think a lot of people would think that we cross the line on some things because it's like if Charlie asked me a question about life, anything in life, I will tell him because I think it's the right. He has context that Dad made a mistake too, because he asked me about drinking. He goes, "Did you drink when you were?" And there was another Seabass was in the car with us because we were talking about it together. And I asked him, I said, "You guys been drinking at all?" Like, because I'm pretty sure, like maybe they snuck one here or there, but Seabass goes, "No." He goes, "I don't like. I'm not even interested." And Charlie was like the same thing we see them every day, like they're home but they're with us. Yeah. So I forget where I was going with that, but they asked me about me, and I said, guys, I got to be honest with you. I did this with our two older kids. You did it when you were a kid. I go, honestly, I couldn't go out and do that because I had, we had games Friday night, like when I played, especially playing junior. I had a game Friday night, Saturday, Sunday usually. Practice, we had curfews, and hockey kept me in line. So I didn't have a chance to do that. I spent my time being an idiot when I was done playing hockey, and I only did that for a short period of time because it wasn't rewarding. It was like, this is kind of dumb. Yeah. I did more as an adult, having a few beers here and there and getting a little not out of hand, just nothing crazy, but hockey saved my life, man. It really literally saved my life. So my point was, I'm always honest with him. I said, I did it this time, and I said it was stupid, and gave him the facts. And I said, like, listen, you're gonna make mistakes. Trust me, you're gonna screw up. You're my perfect little boy. It won't be perfect one day. Yeah. But anyways, it keeps it in the line, and it's saved my life, and it continues to.
Well, and I think that's huge for parents too. The honesty thing. Yeah. That's so huge, man, because the kids they're looking for something to try, and kids aren't stupid, man. They're inexperienced, and they don't have a lot of knowledge on things yet, but they're not stupid. No. So if you're a parent and you're bullshitting your kid, they can tell you're bullshitting. 1,000%. They're not right. So, and even in that kind of the way you're framing that, even if you don't say, "Hey, I went and I drank a bit and it was stupid," even if you don't say that, even you said, I went and I did that and it caused me this problem.
Yep. Yeah, and that's basically the road we go down.
Yeah, right. So you're not throwing like the you can never go and do this because it's bad. Yeah. It's like, no, you can make a choice to do what you want, but you have to live with what the consequences are. And if you choose to do this thing more times than you should be, then that's going to have ramifications. And do you want to deal with that or not? Yeah. And that's a good way of framing it. When you're a parent, that was something that my parents were pretty good at having like good conversations with me, but we never really got into like the deep like life things that were like a little taboo to talk about with your parents, maybe. Yeah. Like I didn't really talk to them about that much. I had to find it in other places. Yeah. And kind of discover some of those things on my own. Yeah. But they were really good about talking to me along the same lines and giving me those, like, what are your goals? Like, what are you trying to do? Does this make sense with that? Is that something that, and then, me trying to take some of that, take some of those lessons a few steps further when it came to those things that were a little bit heavier pressures when I got older, made it a lot easier. So if you're a parent and you can lay that foundation, having those conversations, I think that's really valuable for your kids once they start to get to social age, let's say.